Sit down, right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 shit, yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, sit that, right there, don't go nowhere, say yeah, I like that, bring that, right here, sit that, right there, don't go nowhere.
Welcome back, we back with another reaction video. Today we are reacting to Uber driver killed everyone he picked up. This is the Detective Williams video. Let's get right into it.
Hello? 911.
We need someone here.
Okay, over on. Okay, ma'am, are you over on?
Please, we need.
Are you over here?
When I clicked it, it went tink, and then there was like a double head that popped up. And I pressed that button, and that's where all the problems went after that. I've experienced the full body takeover. It literally has control of you.
Possessed?
On February 20th, 2016, what started off as a normal day in Kalamazoo, Michigan, quickly turned into a swarm of 911 emergency calls about a series of accidents and shootings happening throughout the otherwise calm city. The worst part turned into a swarm of 911 emergency calls about a series of accidents and shootings happening throughout the otherwise calm city. The worst part was, they all seemed completely random and unconnected until they weren't.
Right, are they breathing?
One is not. Are you guys all okay? Okay, so this one car is okay. The other one is a minivan, and the passenger is not moving.
Passenger's not moving?
No.
One of the first calls about major violence came at 5:42 p.m. from a woman who witnessed someone shot right in front of her and urgently needed help. It was the first victim of the day, 25-year-old Tiana Carruthers.
Hello?
911.
We need someone here.
Okay, over on.
Little did the dispatchers know, she wouldn't be the last. At 10 p.m., the police got another call.
Hi, we just drove by the Kia. What road are we on? 94 Business. And a guy just shot some people in the parking lot.
Okay. Are you still near the scene?
Yeah, we're at the Burger King, a couple of places down. There's a car sitting in the lot. I can't tell. It's some kind of SUV.
Okay. All right. Did you hear shots fired? Is that?
Yeah, that's what made us look. And there were two guys laying on the ground and one guy pointing a gun at them.
All right.
53-year-old Richard E. Smith had brought his 17-year-old son Tyler to their local Kia dealership, hoping to buy him his first car. But they never got the chance because both of them were killed.
Bro, what?
We could see the smoke from his gun and hear it as we drove by, and we just pulled in. I don't know, we're probably 150 yards from them. There's an SUV still sitting in the parking lot.
Okay, what color is the SUV?
It's gray.
How many shots did you hear?
How many shots? At least 4.
Heard 4 shots?
Yeah.
Before the police could even respond to this emergency, things got worse because yet another emergency call came in from a nearby Cracker Barrel parking lot.
Why is he doing this in
I'm
broad
at
daylight?
the Kalamazoo Cracker Barrel, and there's been gunshots in a car.
There's gunshots in a car?
Yes.
Okay, well, has anybody been hit?
2 cars have been shot up. There's 3 people in one car, and one guy is not moving.
The victims included 60-year-old Mary Jo Nye, 62-year-old Mary Lou Nye, 74-year-old Dorothy Brown, 68-year-old Barbara Hawthorne, and 14-year-old Abigail Kopf. Abigail was originally pronounced dead, only for the EMTs to find out that she was alive, but barely.
Since he left Abigail, 14-year-old little girl, whose life was being held together somehow by a police officer, his blood and bones and brain pooled in her lap.
Following this incident, the entire city of Kalamazoo was in full panic. Word had spread about the mysterious shootings and that the police seemingly had no leads, or at least they just hadn't paid enough attention to connect the dots to one possible driver.
And this is probably what scares any community, not just Kalamazoo, any community, that you have this person who's totally off the radar, nobody knows anything about him, just goes off and starts killing people at random.
My son's out of Chevy, white silver Chevy, heading west on G Avenue. kind of like a small SUV type, and he didn't stop. I mean, he hit and he's going.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you giving us a call. I'll see if I can get somebody out there, okay?
But to find this car in question, police had to backtrack on everything that happened in Kalamazoo that day, because around 4:30 p.m., before any of this happened, dispatchers had actually received a call from a frantic young man, Matt Mellon, who told them about their terrifying experience.
Hi, I'd like to report a crazy driver. I just got an Uber to my friend's house, and on the way there, he was driving neurotic down West Main. He hit a car, he drove through the woods, and I finally just jumped out.
The dispatchers transferred his call 3 times before finally asking him what he wanted to do about his emergency. They made him think he was blowing the situation out of proportion when he wasn't.
Did you want to talk
Yeah, until you seen little buddy tweaked out like.
to an officer, sir, or you just want me to put out an alert over the radio?
I just wanted to report it because I don't want someone to get hurt.
I understand what you're saying, but I need to know if you want to talk to an officer or if you want me to have an officer, just have the officers just be on the lookout for it.
I just want to be on the lookout. And
okay, thank you.
Report to Uber because I don't think he needs to be picking
Okay, you're
people up.
going to have to do that, sir, not us.
All right, I can do that.
Thank you.
The Uber went on to hit another vehicle after his call, but the victim didn't get to see who was driving.
I needed an officer to come out. I was just involved in an accident where a guy ran a red light and hit me in an intersection.
Over on G Avenue Go Road?
I believe, is this G Avenue? Yeah, G Avenue and Go Road, yep, right next to the Speedway.
All right. And what's your name?
My name is...
Okay. Is that a good reach you?
Yep, that is.
Okay.
It was only when the authorities finally called Matt back and asked him more information about his Uber ride that they got closer and closer to their first suspect, 45-year-old Jason Brian Dalton.
Hi, my name is Tammy. I'm calling from Public
trash-ass
Safety.
fee.
Did you call earlier about the Uber driver?
Yeah, he picked me up from my house.
Can you give me a description of him?
He had a black glasses, mid-40s, white male, kind of salt and pepper hair, goatee, I believe, or maybe some facial hair. I know he had facial hair. I can't remember if it was a beard or...
Was he overweight?
Yep, he had a black dog in his back seat.
So he was a heavy build?
Yep, heavier built.
Did you notice if he had freckles or pockmarks on his face?
I did not. I was sitting in the front seat, but I was honestly like staring at the road. You know, it was nuts. I mean, once we hit like Monroe Street over there by West Main, in front of Henderson Castle, he just started hammering gas pedal and was pulling out in front of everyone. And
he didn't notice. Okay.
He hit a Ford Taurus.
So was his hair salt and pepper or blonde?
Maybe it was blondish. You know, honestly, I'm sorry. I can't be 100%. I could, if I saw a picture of him, I would be able to.
Did you say that he had facial hair?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the information.
Yep. Did you guys catch him or?
No. We were just trying to see if he was involved in another such incident. Okay.
I have his name from Uber. His name it's Jason. The confirmation email they sent me back.
What's his last name?
He introduced himself as a different name though.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't really catch that, but I have a picture of him on my phone from the confirmation email.
Oh, you do have a picture of him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Would you mind texting it to me?
I can do that. Absolutely.
CCTV footage spotted Jason at the Kia dealership as well as at the Cracker Barrel store. At 12:40 a.m., just 2 hours after the Cracker Barrel incident, the police spotted Jason in a black vehicle dropping off 3 passengers. The officers pulled him over and...
I didn't want to pause this early, but what? No way. He's still doing his Uber job? In the midst of... Brother, you're ooting up the whole town. And you're still doing Uber? I'm like, yeah, I just gotta go drop these people off. Oh nah, I need a psychological breakdown of what's going on with this.
And immediately, they noticed something wrong. Jason was wearing a bulletproof vest. When attempting to arrest him, Jason didn't even bother to resist and acted like a regular witness in an investigation, rather than a guilty felon running after committing several murders just hours earlier.
Wait, you built different. Bro, flip the switch and shit, yeah, but this is my regular day. Is the dog still in it?
Registration of DA2696, DA2696, anybody else? Sample.
So you telling me you had to pull the on this whole time?
Dalton was taken into custody where the detectives first got to talk to him, but nothing could have prepared them for what he was going to tell them.
You can get one.
Because you're not this guy.
No. If you guys only knew, it would blow your mind.
He claimed to have all the answers about what was happening around the city that day, only none of the things he was saying made any logical sense because the culprit in his eyes was the Uber app itself.
I recognize the symbol that's on Uber.
Now, I think he's crazy, but this about to say some animation. He about to say some animation. Bro, this is not King's game. Like, the app told me to do it. It was a red button, and then I was hypnotized. As soon as I pressed the button, it gave me targets. No, brother, that's not that's not how real life works. He might get off with insanity. Listen to this.
Could you bring my phone up to me so I can see it?
I have the Uber thing on here.
Can I see it, please? When I clicked it, it went tink, and then there was like a double head that popped up, and I pressed that button, and that's where all the problems went after that. I've experienced the full body takeover. It literally has control of you. I would have never done any of these atrocities that have happened.
For Dalton, the app wasn't just for ride-sharing, it was something much darker and almost supernatural. Police were baffled at the early confession. Dalton had neither resisted arrest, nor did he even try to claim innocence. But how could he think he was guilty if he believed he didn't kill anymore in his own will?
Let me show you how to block this ad. First, you're gonna click on this video, then you're gonna download Pi. It's an ad blocker that's
This nigga think he in an anime. I'm telling you, bro. I forgot.
Still here?
I forgot what's
Let me explain. It's a free Chrome extension, and it basically blocks ads
like
for
a
you.
battle
And it
royale
actually gets
anime,
cooler
nigga.
because if
Like,
you
nigga,
do
last
end up
man
seeing
standing
ads,
type shit.
Pi
Like,
legit
bro, that's
pays you
not
to
how
see
this
it.
works,
I didn't
brother.
even
This
know
is
these were
not a
ads in the first
classroom,
place,
and these
but
not
I
your
made money
classmates
off of
that you have
them,
to
which
get
is great.
rid of
It
in
even
order
has a
to win the
visual mode
game.
that lets you watch your ads.
What made you get your firearm tonight? The app, the Uber?
Is that what made you put the vest on too?
Uber app.
Yeah.
Do you remember shooting people?
There's like little spots where it pops in and pops out.
Investigators were apprehensive toward treating Dalton as the killer and closing the case. To them, this might have been just a crazy older man who thinks he killed those people, which is why they had to analyze his clothes as evidence and get him to continue talking.
I do remember the Cracker Barrel.
Oh, the restaurant. Okay.
What do you remember
other people
about
playing the game?
I never even aimed.
You just went like that?
Yes.
You remember doing that?
I remember that it just kind of had me, you know what I mean? I don't know how much
The auto aiming.
I may have done or not done.
If you think of anything, can you let us know?
Sure.
Jason's initial interview only complicated things further because he became an unreliable source of information, whether as the real killer or as a witness in these crime scenes. Still, in the following interview, he revealed information that no ordinary passerby would have known.
When I drive to the destination, I make a phone call.
Not on your cell
phone? Through the Uber app.
Okay.
Trying to get this McKinney or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it, mind you, this isn't like, go here, go there. This is like, like, I just go. You know what I mean? So I do that a couple times, and then it makes me, I go by this woman and I ask her if she's McKinney, this black woman. And she says, no, I'm not. Why do you ask? And I'm like, I'm the Uber driver. And so then I go down and I go around again, and it takes me right back to where the pen is, where I started originally. And then I reached in, I grabbed my Glock, and whoop, I go off, and I go back around and I ask the woman if her name is McKinney again, and she says no. And the weird thing is that normally I would always have to aim. I just had to go like that, and it was like I...
Automatic?
Yeah, it was like it just had me. You know what I'm getting at?
No.
And, and I believe that I dumped the whole magazine there.
Brother, this is not
At this
death
lady?
row.
And where's this at? Do you have any idea where this is?
It's up there on Gall Road.
Okay.
You know, Gall Meadows.
Gall Meadows? Is that an apartment complex?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason seemed intent on killing Tiana, and he made no reaction whatsoever to the fact that her children were around. Still, the question remained, was this truth or just a lunatic taking credit for a killer still out there?
Why do you assume that you killed her?
Because how could you survive that many gunshots?
I understand what you're saying. That's so you said you thought you emptied out a whole magazine.
Yeah.
Then what kind of gun are you using?
It's a Glock.
The problem was, Jason was being a little contradictory in his statements. The officer had to push for details, but while Jason might have had the spirit of a confessing killer, he didn't have the memory of one, especially when it came to the murder weapon he kept mixing up.
Earlier today you said that you were using your Walter.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll just let you keep going. Okay.
The Glock jammed.
During that?
During that. And I cleared the jam to finish. But there's something I want to tell you about too that's weird. Okay. The extractor. Someone bent the extractor.
Oh. On the Glock?
Because my Glock worked just fine. So the extractor was like this.
Oh, okay.
It should be like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it till later that night when I was looking at it. I was like, why is it built like that when it should be like that? And I actually took a pair of dogs and I straightened it back out so that it would work.
Dogs.
Okay.
But I go back.
Now, did you fix the gun at your mom and dad?
No, I fixed it later that night.
Okay.
According to him, this was when he was trying to get home, but things kept going wrong, and he couldn't tell why.
It's weird that they're not accidents that would
cripple your car.
For the speed that I'm traveling. I'm going to tell you right here. I just don't know what to even think, because there's no way that I should have been able to do this.
So your car is not crippled?
It's not crippled.
Okay.
And I keep going.
Dalton did his best to come off as a merciless killer, even bringing his wife into the fold to lay out everything that happened on the day of the crimes.
And I loaded the gun and put it in her pouch. She's freaking out.
And what kind of gun is that?
That was a Taurus PT-92.
Caliber?
9mm.
3 different guns?
So I give it to her, and I tell her that the kids need to stay in the house, and she needs to stay in the house. So I go down, I get a bag, and I put my guns take them out of one car and put them in the other.
For the next 4 hours, Dalton was supposed to be doing his job as an Uber driver normally, but he had other plans.
And I also seen some other black cars that were circling around me. And it told me to go to that black BMW. So I parked my car and I got out to go look at the BMW. And then I ran, when it went open, I ran back to my car. And I got in my car and then I drove.
Here, Dalton claims he made it to the Kia dealership, asked Richard and Tyler a question, and before they could answer, he shot 18 rounds, killing them instantly. Tyler's girlfriend was crouched up in the back seat of their truck and witnessed it all happen. 10 minutes later, he drives back to the Cracker Barrel, and that's when he gets to his next horrific confession.
Well, that's because she could spare $1 to make America great again. and she told me that she didn't have the dollar to spend, and I shot her.
And this was where at?
There at the Cracker Barrel.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Cracker Barrel, make
Just one
America great
person?
again.
Now, I was
Chokes
going
right
to run away, and I
themselves.
heard people scream. And then I shot some people in a car. And when I mean that, it's like it was telling me where to shoot. And I remember that I shot a small person in the head.
When you say small person, what do you mean?
I think like a child.
Any idea how old?
I don't know.
No. Where was she at? Where was she?
There was a woman and some people in the back seat.
Where was the lady that you asked the dollar?
She was like here's the aisle. And there's a car and it's parked right here. And I walked up to her right there, white van. And then they screamed, and then I bam, 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 bam. And then when I got in my car to leave, as I'm leaving, there's these white, like, minivans pulling in right behind me.
Dalton seemed to find strange pleasure in the information he was giving the investigator. It's not unlikely for criminals to eventually seek attention from the police to gloat about the heinous things they had done. This is why it's a common saying that criminals always go back to the scene of the crime. Not out of fear, but out of pride.
Did you shoot her multiple times?
Yes.
You did?
I don't remember how many times I did shoot her.
And then you heard the screams?
Yeah.
And where's that car in relationship to the white van?
It's on the other side of the white van.
Okay. Did you have to walk around the white van? Did you get like real close to him?
Yeah.
Do you remember what side of the car you shot through?
The driver's side, and then I went around to the passenger side.
Okay. And you said there was 4 people in that car, am I correct?
Correct.
Alright. So, did you shoot the driver first, do you remember, or don't you remember?
I can't remember which ones were which.
You know that you just shot everybody in the car. What was your thoughts at that time?
I don't know if I really had any thoughts.
Clearly.
How about when you were leaving?
When I was leaving, I don't know.
Okay. And do you remember, did you race away, or did you just drive away, or did you?
I just raced away, I believe.
Did you?
Yeah.
Alright. Do you ever remember shaking, or being nervous, or anything like that?
No, I wasn't.
No? Okay. How many rounds do you figure you shot out of your Walter there?
Probably 20.
You think you emptied the magazine?
Most likely, yes.
During this time, Dalton alternated between his murderous trips and normal ones, but the people he picked up were just as suspicious as the police.
And I canceled the no-shows, and then I would get phone calls back from them, and I just push other. And then I pick up these guys downtown. I could go back to where the building is, but these guys, they told me to pick them up, but the guy came, he was wearing like a white and gray jacket. And they're mocking me, like, oh yeah, there's somebody on a killing spree, driving a blue HHR, you know what I mean?
They were saying that to you?
Yeah. They were saying that to me. They wanted to go down to the bar.
Thankfully, it was at that point when Jason was arrested and taken into custody before he could have continued his terror on the streets.
And then they got out, and then when I pulled around, a sheriff's deputy was on me. And then I'm not for sure where I ended up getting pulled over. And then when they pulled over, I almost reached for my gun, but then the phone went beep, 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 and I reached over and I tapped the phone to stay logged in. And then that's where we're at, to this point.
Now, what gun were you using?
The Walter.
The more information Dalton presented, The more investigators started believing that he really was the killer, he just knew too much. But to really make sense of it all, they kept circling back to the start of the story, to his first victim, and made their way back to the end. Each time, he gave more information, deeper insights that proved he was the killer and he knew what he was doing.
Did you ever think about stopping, going and trying to help her?
It seemed like it had control of me.
I asked you if you ever had a moment where you thought about, maybe I should help her.
Not until after.
After what?
After
the phone beat.
After all this was over.
When was it all over?
When I got arrested.
And that's when you thought about.
I think that's when it just sort of came to reality.
He was suddenly able to tell all the details from the very first accident.
Henderson Castle?
I think that's what we got, West Main.
Okay. Could be now. And do you remember what kind of car you had? What kind of car you had?
It was a green car with like a primer spot on it.
Okay. So it was somebody that was doing some type of work to it. Yeah. And was it moving or was it parked?
It was moving.
Okay. And at that point in time, was there somebody with you?
Yes.
Okay. I think you said you were sort of driving sort of crazy at that point in time.
I'm sure he was scared out of his mind.
Okay. Do you even know what his name was?
I do not.
Okay. And what? Now I'm trying to pick your brain a little bit in terms of like time. How long before the lady up at the apartment complex and that accident? How much time is in between there?
I don't know.
He even shared what was really going on the inside.
I had no.
The detective might let that shit go, bro. Cut your hair off, man.
So then you said it wasn't until later that you ended up feeling sorry about it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say sorry.
I can't believe I've done what I've done.
Drive to your house.
Yeah, my mom and dad's house.
Now, how many different types of guns did you have?
Quite a few.
What? Help me understand.
Like
probably at least 4 or 5 different types.
Mm-hmm. And how are you carrying them?
Mm-hmm.
What, did you put them in something, or how are you carrying them?
I had a little bag to carry them in.
Why was the dog?
Like a shoulder bag like that?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. You just put them in your car?
Mm-hmm.
And then you proceed to go back on the street, doing your Uber stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when you encountered this lady.
Yeah.
But it was clear that Dalton was also playing a very long and manipulative game, the insanity plea. Criminals who receive the insanity plea get perks like a reduced sentencing, certain elements of the due process being excused, or even as far as getting treatment instead of prison time. However, the insanity defense needs to be approved by several authorities, and if Dalton was caught pretending to be insane, it would only get worse for him. Dalton even tried to not give any information at first, but he failed miserably.
And did you share with them everything you shared with me?
Yes.
You did? You told them everything?
What I told you.
You told them, the other officers?
No, just the gentleman upstairs.
When was that?
When I was upstairs.
Okay. At the police station in town?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you shared with them everything that we talked about?
Yes, and I tried to plead the fifth, but they just kept prodding me for it.
Okay. When you say you tried to plead the fifth, what do you mean?
I asked them that I just wanted to be silent.
Okay. Obviously, they left you alone at some point in time.
They did.
But key things he said during the interviews gave him away, like actually having feelings and memory of what happened.
What I've done is kind of monstrous, and I'm sorry that I did that to them and ruined their families.
But it seems like you got a pretty good heart, man.
Yeah.
I don't think you're that nasty type person.
Yeah.
You do care.
Yeah.
You're supposed to say you're not remorseful.
Get it off my chest.
But still, the detectives needed something more credible than his word to prove Dalton was the killer, other than his ramblings, and more importantly, they needed any link between the victims.
As to a motive, that's one of the things that we're working hard to try and establish. At this point, the connection between these three incidents, between these three cases, is the defendant, is Mr. Dalton. There is no connection that we're aware of between the three different sets of victims to each other or any of the victims to Mr. Dalton. They appear to have been chosen at random because they were available.
First, police searched through Dalton's house after they found his car in downtown Kalamazoo with guns inside. A search of his house showed more evidence in the form of 15 guns that backed his claims in the interview. But further proof soon came in the form of Tiana Carruthers, Dalton's very first victim, whom he had shot over a dozen times and needed help from the first 911 caller. She became a major witness throughout the whole case when she finally identified Dalton as the shooter, and as traumatized as she wasn't afraid to tell her story.
I seen him coming, and I saw a gun.
Interrogator cars. No, they gave bags. These old people, they have these old black bags. They're
kick him out for contempt of court. I guess this is part of his whole insanity plea. Like, I'm gonna have outbursts, so it seems like I'm crazy and can't control myself, I assume. It's not gonna work, buddy. You was better off telling them niggas anime made you do it. Like,
they're black. They're black bags. If people drive around and you look at them, it gets real like, hey, it's time people look. And then that's when to tell people it's time to get to Temple.
Listen to your attorney, right?
Yeah, you need to get to Temple because you need to get going because it's called intimidator bags.
Well, he's clearly distressing the witness.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, if you have anything to say, you whisper to your attorney. That's today's rules, okay?
Jason wasn't going to let Tiana ruin his insanity act, though, even if it meant bringing her even more trauma in the courtroom.
Take it.
I wish everybody in this situation would have had guns. Just up it on that. Brrr. Yeah, kick him out of court. What are we doing here?
Luckily, his lawyers told him that his initial arrest interviews made it clear as day that he was mentally stable. What also came as a genuine shock was the fact that Dalton had studied to be a police officer in the 90s, according to Dalton's own best man, Andrew Jameson. But while that obviously didn't occur, it backs the theory that Dalton would know about the perks of the insanity plea. This all proves that Dalton knew exactly what he had done, and he was going to have to take responsibility for it. So, he changed his plea to guilty.
Be, in essence, subject to murder, which is a felony that's punishable by life in prison. As to that charge, how do you plead?
Guilty. While speaking to his family, Dalton made it seem like he was forced to change his plea, but it was really because he had no other choice. The case was going to trial, whether he liked it or not.
I just wanted you to know that they won't allow me to respectfully bow out or take anything. They want to have a trial no matter what with live coverage. I just wanted you to know that it's not driven by me. It's not driven by my defense attorney. They simply, it seems to be something between the judge and the prosecutor that they're wanting to go forward with it, and they've signed a thing allowing it to be filmed like the OJ trial. Why don't we just get a red and white circus tent and put it up in front of the courthouse and get a couple rings and let me be a dancing monkey for everybody, because that's exactly the way I feel about it.
At this point, a letter went viral, one allegedly written by Dalton, planning to sue Uber for $10 million, giving him one more possible motive to carry out a grand plan of getting revenge on Uber for not paying him his money and treating him badly by trying to place the blame of murder on the app. But as the trial came to an end, all of the witnesses and survivors got to say their piece. But one question remained. Why did he really do it?
Thank you.
The sad thing is, according to the psychologists, Jason was of sound mind throughout what happened that day. He had a perfect memory of everything he did, and despite trying to act insane, he wasn't. No one ever got a reason for why he killed 6 people that day, all across the city. And worst of all, despite saying he felt like a monster, it was clear he didn't really care. The families of the victims got to look Jason directly in the eye and tell him the real impact of what he'd done.
I'm Christopher C. Nye, husband of Mary L. Nye, and brother of Mary Jo Nye.
Welcome.
I've lost the woman I've married for 41 years, and I lost my little sister. The world has lost 2 women whose only goal in life was to take care of children. My wife worked in a daycare center and took care of little babies, nursed them, rocked them, whatever. And my sister was a teacher. She taught children who came from shaky backgrounds.
All right, come on, man.
Some of them had juvenile records, some of them just came from bad families, situations, and she was their teacher and their mentor. The world has lost 2 teachers.
I'm Penny Hawthorne, sister-in-law of Barbara Hawthorne. Life itself is an unknown. Why was life created? Why are we born and why do we die? When will we die? We all hope to live a full, happy, long life until that chosen natural time of death. But you took that away from 6 very much loved and respected people. Why? Why did you play God and decide to do that? We won't ever know. The victim's family will never know.
With every story, the weight of what happened got worse for Dalton.
I'm Jeff Reynolds, and I'm the son of Judy Brown. Words can't express the shock and the horror and the grief around what has happened. Nothing can prepare someone for the phone calls my brother and I received February 20th, 2016, notifying us that our dear mom, Judy Brown, enjoying a night out with 3 lady friends and a young girl, was among those randomly shot and killed the previous night. It's at first incredible until the reality sinks in that yes, this is real. Usually we think stories like this happen to other people, and this time it had happened to us. My mom's death was a blow like no other, and it completely knocked the wind out of me, deflated me to the core. Nothing can prepare someone to instantly fly cross country unexpectedly to secure their mom's house and make arrangements for her remains and other urgent matters. During the layover on that flight home to Michigan, seeing my mom's face and the story on CNN was shocking and surreal, and something I'll never forget.
I'm Emily Lemmer. I am the sister of Tyler, and I am the daughter of Richard Smith. February 20, 2016 is a day that I will never forget. My dad invited me to come with him and my brother to look at trucks later that night, so I decided I would go. When we finished filing our taxes, I was in a hurry to get home and finish up some things before I had to meet them. I had forgotten to give my dad a hug. I ended up falling asleep before we were supposed to go, and I didn't end up going with them. I woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of my mom screaming outside my apartment. When I got up to see what was going on, I saw a sea of lights coming from the parking lot from all the first responders. When the detective sat my mom and I down and told us that my brother and my dad had been shot and killed, I couldn't feel a thing. I was emotionally numb and I felt like time had stopped. The rest of the night was a blur of people coming to try and help in any way that they could. Several hours later, we got a call from the funeral home that my brother and my dad had been released to. We decided we needed to see them one last time to give them a hug, one last time to touch them, and one last time to pretend like this nightmare wasn't real.
Yet, he was still cold, still numb to it all.
This might sound really sick, but I feel okay. I feel as if whatever I've done was not really me that did it.
No one did anything to draw attention to themselves. He just killed who he saw when he saw them and would have continued to do so had he not been arrested that night.
A number of people have spoken to me outside of court, and I've heard now in court, the question, why? And that, as best the court can see, is only going to be known to you and to our Creator.
His motive may be a mystery, but his end definitely wasn't, because on February 5th, 2019, Dalton received exactly what he deserved.
That you, Jason Brian Dalton, be remanded to the custody of the Michigan Department of Corrections and be sentenced to a period of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Man, get his ass up out of here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is another bad Uber case, by the way. Facts. Did the why is really one of my main questions, because I'm trying to figure out what's the plan afterwards. Like, were you thinking of afterwards? Clearly not. Clearly you didn't care. You got a whole wife and kid to think about. You ain't even want to think about that no more, obviously. Like I said a little bit earlier, I think he let his evil win, bro. That's the why. It's not really a why, but it's more like a reasoning. Like, maybe he was tired of suppressing his true self, and his true self was someone who doesn't care about human life at all. Sometimes there are just bad people in the world. That seems like the why. Exhibit A, Jason. And that's the end of the video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date when I drop videos on this channel. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
Everything I see and I achieve it, bitch, you best. Everything I see and I achieve it, bitch, you best. Everything Everything I'm seeing, I achieved it, bitch, you best believe it. It has been my Nintendo switch legit, though, kick it with my kinfolk. Haters just be talking, so I really do not need their info. Yeah, they info. Yeah.